Pan America, the rise and fall of the airline that ruled the skies.
America, you don't know it yet, but you're going to Europe this summer on Pan.
Once upon a time, there was an airline that ruled the skies. A blue globe, painted on a white tail, a symbol recognized from New York to Tokyo. It was called Pan American World Airways, or simply Pan AM. For more than half a century, Pan AM wasn't just an airline. It was America's wings, the very definition of glamour, adventure, and power. Its planes carried presidents, movie stars, and dreamers. Its routes connected continents that once felt unreachable. To fly Pan AM was to touch the future. But by 1991, the unthinkable happened. The giant of the skies came crashing down. This is the story of how Pan AM, once the world's most prestigious airline, soared too high and fell too hard. It all began in 1927, with one small mail route. From Key West, Florida, to Havana, Cuba. At that time, flying was an adventure for the brave. Aircraft were noisy, unpredictable, and often dangerous. But one man saw possibility where others saw risk. One trip ambitious, bold, and only 27 years old. A Yale graduate with a passion for flight and a vision to unite the world through the air. Tripp didn't just want to build an airline, he wanted to build a network of nations. Under his leadership, Pan American Airways grew from a small carrier into a global pioneer. By the 1930s, Pan AM was flying luxurious flying boats. Massive seaplanes known as the Clipper ships. These majestic aircraft could land on water and cross oceans long before airports existed. They carried the rich, the powerful, and the curious to exotic destinations, Rio, Hong Kong, Manila. To fly Pan AM was to experience a new kind of luxury. Silk tablecloths, crystal glasses, silver service, all in the sky. Passengers didn't just travel, they sailed through the air. After World War II, the world changed and so did aviation. Pan AM, now the dominant international carrier, set its sights higher than ever. In 1958, it became the first airline to fly the Boeing 707. The sleek, roaring jet that ushered in a new era. For the first time, passengers could fly from New York to Paris in hours, not days. Pan AM had done it again. It had shrunk the planet. Its iconic blue globe logo became a symbol of modernity and progress. Its crews were ambassadors of America, polished, multilingual, and impeccably trained. The world looked at Pan AM and saw the future. Its stewardesses were the supermodels of the sky, representing elegance and freedom. Flying Pan AM wasn't just about getting somewhere, it was about arriving with style. And one Tripp's dream had come true. Pan AM didn't just move people, it connected civilizations. The 1960s were a time of hope and wonder, and Pan AM was at its heart. It was the official airline of the jet set, the glamorous global elite. Celebrities, diplomats, and entrepreneurs all traveled under the blue globe. Pan AM became the first airline to fly around the world on a single ticket. And in 1970, it introduced the mighty Boeing 747, the queen of the skies. That plane changed everything. It could carry more passengers farther and faster than ever before. And Pan AM was the first to show it to the world. Passengers walked aboard wide cabins, twin aisles, and spiral staircases to upper-deck lounges. It felt like a flying palace. For a time, Pan AM looked unstoppable. But beneath the glamour, the golden era carried a hidden storm. In the early 1970s, the dream began to crack. The 1973 oil crisis hit airlines like a thunderstorm. Fuel prices quadrupled overnight, and Pan Am's massive fleet of 707s and 747s became fuel-hungry monsters. Then, in 1978, came airline deregulation in the United States. For decades, Pan AM had thrived in a world of government agreements and fixed routes. Now, everything changed. Airlines could set their own fares, open new routes, and compete freely. New players flooded the skies, cheaper, faster, more aggressive. Pan AM, built for an era of prestige, suddenly faced a market ruled by price wars. Its network was vast, but it lacked something crucial: domestic routes. Most Americans couldn't even start their Pan Am journey without flying another airline first. To fix that, Pan Am made a decision that would haunt it forever. In 1980, Pan Am bought National Airlines for $437 million, hoping to instantly gain a U.S. network. But the merger was chaos. Different fleets, different crews, different management cultures, nothing fit. Instead of synergy, Pan Am got confusion and debt. At the same time, it had invested billions in new 747s. A fleet too large for a shrinking market. As fuel costs rose again, and interest rates climbed, Pan Am began bleeding money. Rivals like Delta, United, and American Airlines grew stronger, while Pan Am's losses grew deeper. Still, the brand name carried weight. The public couldn't imagine a world without Pan Am. But behind closed doors, the numbers told a different story. Every takeoff was a financial risk. Every landing, a question of survival. Then came the tragedy that defined the end. On December 21, 1988, Pan Am Flight 103, a Boeing 747, was flying from London to New York when it exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland. A terrorist bomb had been placed in the cargo hold. 270 people lost their lives. The world mourned. And Pan Am, already fragile, began to crumble under the weight of grief and suspicion. The airline's reputation shattered. Passengers lost trust. Lawsuits piled up. And insurance costs skyrocketed beyond control. Lockerbie wasn't just a tragedy, it was a turning point. For many, it was the day Pan Am's fate was sealed forever. By 1990, Pan Am was desperate for survival. It sold off its most valuable assets. Its London Heathrow routes to United Airlines. Its Pacific network to Delta. Its headquarters building in New York. Each sale bought a little more time, but at a terrible price. The Gulf War in 1991 was the final blow. Fuel prices soared again, and travelers stayed home. Pan Am's global network, once its pride, became its downfall. On December 4, 1991, after 64 years of flight, Pan Am ceased operations. Its final flight, Pan Am Flight 436, landed in Miami from Barbados. When the engine stopped, a chapter of aviation history ended. Stewardesses wept. Mechanics saluted. Pilots stood in silence. The blue globe would never fly again. Pan Am may have fallen, but its spirit never truly disappeared. Its innovations changed aviation forever. The first airline to cross both the Pacific and the Atlantic regularly. The first to use computer reservation systems. The first to introduce real international luxury in the sky. Even the way airports look today: jet bridges, global hubs, branded lounges. All trace their roots back to Pan Am's vision. Its training programs became models for other airlines. Its routes laid the foundation for modern global travel. And its logo, the blue globe, remains one of the most iconic symbols ever created. Even today, you'll see it on collector jackets, retro posters, and film sets. Shows like Mad Men and movies like Catch Me If You Can keep its memory alive. Because Pan Am wasn't just an airline. It was an idea, that the sky belonged to everyone. One trip once said, "Mass travel by air may prove to be more significant to world destiny than the atomic bomb." And in many ways, he was right. Pan Am didn't just connect cities. It connected humanity. It made the world smaller, dreams bigger, and the impossible, routine. Even though its wings were clipped. The dream of Pan Am still flies. In every boarding pass, every window seat, every heart that looks at the clouds and dares to dream. Because legends never truly fall. They just find new skies to soar.